Just when you think you've seen it all, it takes death to call you a liar. Death tends to bring out the worst in people. Family split, fighting over heirlooms, property, and other possessions. I'm sure all of you have been through this type of ordeal in some form or fashion. Things can get pretty contentious, hostile, and messy. And the sad part is, nobody is really immune to these type of situations. In Anniston, Alabama, a French woman moved there to marry her American beau and was hurled into Immigrations and Customs Enforcement custody during an inheritance battle with her stepson. According to the Daily Mail and other reports, Marie-Thérèse Helene Claire Ross-Mahé, 86, was deported Thursday after her late husband's son had her arrested. This is according to reporting from the Daily Mail. Immigration agents ripped Marie-Thérèse from her bed at her Anniston home on April 1st while she was wearing only her nightgown and robe. This is according to court documents. She was taken to a detention center in Louisiana and has since been removed from the country for overstaying her tourism visa, a Homeland Security spokesman confirmed. She moved to Anniston, a small town with only 22,000 people, after she married retired Army Captain William Bill Ross in April of 2025. The couple met in the late 1960s while he was stationed in France, and she was a bilingual secretary at a NATO base. They spent decades apart and had their own respective families, but reconnected and sparked a romance after becoming both widowed. Marie-Thérèse entered the country in June 2025 and had been trying to obtain a green card while her husband of just 9 months passed away on January 24th of this year. So this wasn't just, some old French lady Bill William was involved with via a fling. It looks like they were really into each other. And, I don't know if the courting went on and off for decades, or they don't say, when they both became widows, but I'm sure, they were in constant contact after that. It'd be interesting to know, like, when they were both widowed. That would say a lot. But anyway, a judge has now ruled that after his death, Bill's son, William Tony Ross, used his connections in the federal government to have Marie-Thérèse arrested by ICE. Tony, a former state trooper and current federal government employee, contacted a colleague to request that his stepmom be detained. Calhoun County Probate Judge Shirley Millwood wrote in a court order. The request came after Bill's death, when Tony and his brother Gary Ross were trying to take control of their late father's estate, the filing said. The estate consisted of Bill's modest $172K home, roughly $1,500 in cash, and about $10,000 in other personal property, including his Mercedes-Benz C300 and a truck. Marie-Thérèse told Tony and Gary, a U.S. Coast Guard veteran, that she did not want her late husband's assets and only wanted enough money to return to her France to be with her children. The judge also wrote. So, this guy here, this brother, the one who started this action, I mean, he's just like his boss, right? He works in the federal government. He's just like his boss, the president, Donald Trump. This guy, just like Trump, weaponized the justice system to attack the old, dreaded mother-in-law. So, of course, a dispute quickly arose, with the two sons, Tony and Gary, having taken both of Bill's vehicles from the property the day after his death. This happened roughly a week after the brothers tried to force their stepmother to turn over Bill's phone to them. Millwood wrote. Tony and Gary then had the water, electricity, and internet at the home turned off. Now, here's the real heartless part. The brothers also had all of the mail rerouted from the residence, which included notes from immigration services that were sent to Marie-Thérèse, the judge said. The pair even offered to pay Marie-Thérèse $10,000 if she signed away her rights to the estate. The judge's order also stated, well, of course she resisted. After the brothers were unsuccessful in coercing Miss Ross to accept their offer, this court believes William Anthony Ross used his position as a United States federal government employee for personal gain, the judge wrote. Tony testified that he did not make a call or have a conversation requesting his stepmother's deportation. But Judge Millwood cited how Tony received a message from U.S. Marshals the day before her arrest, alerting him that his stepmother would be detained. What a slimeball piece of shit this guy is. He also received a text message within an hour of her arrest confirming her detention, the order stated. After receiving those communications, Tony alerted Gary, who then went to the property with his wife and changed all the locks. So they effectively locked her out of the property. Millwood urged the federal government to investigate the circumstances surrounding Marie-Thérèse's arrest, but despite the judge's recommendation, she has since been deported. And that means that these folks probably won't face accountability for what they did to her. Marie-Thérèse Helen Ross, an illegal from France. She last entered the country in June 2025 under the Visa Waiver Program, which permitted her to remain in the country for 90 days. 7 months later, she is still illegally in the United States, a DHS spokesperson told the Daily Mail. DHS also confirmed that she was repatriated to France and, get this, urged all illegal aliens to self-deport now. So they used this chance to release a general statement as to their political posturing regarding self-deportation. The spokesperson noted that the U.S. is currently offering $2,600 and a free flight to people who self-deport. I wasn't aware that the federal government was giving people, illegals, $2,600 to self-deport. So I'd say, if there are any illegal folks listening to this broadcast, man, I'd seriously urge you to think about taking a deal like that. Because, if you get caught and DHS gets you in that one of those ICE facilities, you may not make it out of there. Marie-Thérèse's attorney, Willingham, also confirmed her return to France, telling the Daily Mail that she is now back with her children. She was exhausted and not feeling well when she landed, Willingham said. She has medical appointments on Monday because she was not given her meds while in the Louisiana facility. The attorney added that Marie-Thérèse felt that neither she nor the other inmates at the Louisiana Detention Center were treated well. So again, I say, $2,600 to self-deport. Miss Thérèse said that, they're not treating folks well in there. Think about taking that deal. Seriously. Miss Marie's position is she did everything she was supposed to do with regard to obtaining her green card. She had attended an appointment just days prior to her detention. And, that shows she was in compliance with her visa status. And that's exactly what Willingham went on to say. And if that's true, that means this poor French lady was, more likely in compliance with all the checkpoints. Up until the point where the brothers sabotaged her efforts. The report says that the French consulate was heavily involved in Miss Marie's release, and they were grateful to everyone involved in helping get their client home. What a couple of slime balls, right? So y'all tell me, would you guys like to see a real inquiry into these brothers' actions? I mean, just based on the judge's response to the brothers' actions, I think a real inquiry is deserving, and these guys should face justice if what's alleged turns out to be true. Maybe throw their butts into an ICE facility. Sound off in the comments. This is the Plug Power Network, and we are unplugged for now.